Guten Tag.
Bonjour.
Marhaba.
Hello. Welcome to Crash Course Literature, where we will be discussing the role of woman.
That's horrible. That was horrible.
Dave! Why would you say Medea? Why didn't you read?
Guten Tag.
Bonjour.
Marhaba.
Hello.
Welcome to Crash Course
Literature, where we will be discussing the role of women in Euripides' Medea.
Hi, my name is Medea, and this is Draw My Life. If I were to describe myself in one word, it would be even-tempered. So, I was born in Colchis to King Aedes and his wife, but no one really knows who she is because she's a woman. Oh, and there's little me. Aren't I cute? Because my dad was king, my crib was pretty dope. But because I wasn't from the center of civilization, Athens, my palace was more of a tiki hut. Colchis was far away from Iolcus, where I ended up. They're pretty far away from each other, but it doesn't matter, because if you're from anywhere but Greece, you're pretty much barbaric. Like, oh my god. I had a pretty cool family. First of all, my dad was a king, which means royal.
Royal.
Then comes my aunt. She was pretty cool because she was a sorceress. Oh yeah. This all means I'm a mixture of both. That makes me totally cool, but also a little crazy.
Sorry.
Not to mention that my grandpa was Helios, the sun god. Yeah, that's right. Not only was I cool and crazy, I was also real powerful. That's a deadly combination. So I learned all about sorcery and potions. Let's just say I didn't have many friends growing up, and that's probably why I struggled socially as a grown-up. My childhood was a bit of a struggle. It's a little hard for me to talk about, but I'll do it anyways. Let's just say I went through a bit of an awkward phase, but that's alright, because just 2 years later, I got smoking hot. As my sorcery skills developed, so did other things. One magical day on the shore, working on some potions, the usual, until a ship arrived, and on that ship was a smoking hot babe. It was love at first sight. Or you could say I was shot by Cupid's arrow between the butt cheeks. So this guy Jason arrived, and he told me he was on the hunt for a golden fleece. No, not that kind of fleece that keeps you warm, but some mystical kind of thing. As I told him I'd help him in his quest to find the golden fleece, we fell in love. I was madly in love. Dad had the golden fleece, but in order for Jason to get it, he had to complete a couple of tasks. One of these tasks was to milk the udders of a fiery cow, and then take the teeth of a sleeping dragon. And after he did it, Daddy said no. But I don't take no easily, so I had a temper tantrum. Eventually, Jason was able to steal the fleece from a sleeping dragon, my hero. Me and Jason were so out of here. My dad chased us as we sailed off into love, on a boat.
TTYL, daddy.
Thing is, we didn't want my dad to follow us, so I did the only thing a girl could do in this situation. I chopped my brother up into 1,000,000 pieces and scattered them into the ocean. Daddy had to pick up his pieces, and I sailed off into my new life, and it worked. So, the end.
Medea! So we know that Medea goes on and kills her 2 children because she's suffering from a broken heart. Boo-hoo. We're able to recognize that this is a crazy thing to do, and if you saw or read something about it now, it would be considered insane. But in order to understand this story, we need to put ourselves in the context that Euripides was writing in. Euripides is writing in approximately 400 BC, a very, 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 very long time ago, which means that basically everything was different back then. I'm not saying that women's rights are where they could be right now, but I'm saying that it's much better. Well, let's go to Thought Bubble.
In ancient Greece, people didn't have much to do because there wasn't any TV. People usually just walked around in gardens, went to very unhygienic communal baths, PU, and they lounged around eating grapes.
Do you like my gladiators?
Yeah, they're really nice.
Or they went to the local theater and watched plays like Medea.
Not only that, but women's place in society was also different. Their true place in life was the kitchen. Safe, I told you not to put that. Just kidding, but they were meant to stay home and take care of the children, the house, and the family. They were couch potatoes that were nice to look at. That would be a luxury now, because really all anyone ever wants to do is stay home nowadays. Women were also pretty gypped legal-wise. Women didn't have the right to inherit property or serve on a jury. This means that Medea didn't really have the opportunity to battle it out with Jason on an episode of Jerry Springer. Because of all these restrictions, Medea's means of appropriately seeking justice against Jason were very limited. Another thing to try to understand is that Euripides wrote the play from the center of civilization of the time, which was Greece. So this means foreigners were considered barbarians, because travel was so uncommon and people pretty much grew up in the place that they were raised. So the fact that Medea was a woman, and she was a foreigner who traveled from a faraway barbaric land to the center of civilization, made her an outsider and limited her rights even more. So it can be debated the extent to which Medea's violent acts can be justified, whether or not they were totally crazy. But considering the restrictions she had, both being a woman and a foreigner, it can be argued that committing a crude act of violence was the only way to have her voice and feelings heard in the time period she lived in. She did what she must in order to seek justice, and it was the Greek society itself that killed the children because it restricted her from getting her justice.
Hey guys, Euripides was a controversial writer. He isn't writing Medea to comment on how women are crazy. He is commenting on the challenges women face and the basic rights she is denied because of her gender. He can be seen as the Ibsen of the day, because he wrote heroes that were sensitive and fairly unheroic in the typical sense. He treated slaves, women, and children as human beings. Let's remember that, like Ibsen, Euripides wasn't a feminist. They took a more humanist perspective to their stories. He treated humans as humans, whether they be women or slaves. In Medea, the chorus is made up of Corinthian women. Now, Euripides uses the chorus as a tool to demonstrate the limited effect women were able to make in ancient Greece because of the societal structures. Typically, the chorus has an effect on the actions of the play, as it was used to narrate it and explain important events within it. However, in Medea, the chorus was criticized because it had a lack of effect on the play. Euripides makes them useless to show women's limited ability to contribute to society. The only time we see them actually try and do something to change the events or Medea's feelings is at the beginning, when they attempt to lift her from her melancholy. They advise, if your husband is won to your new love, the thing is common, why let it anger you? Zeus will plead your cause. Check this passionate grief over your husband, which wastes your way. Basically, in this extract, the chorus attempts to comfort Medea after Jason goes on to marry a new bride. Really, by just indirectly saying, a man should ruin your lipstick, not your mascara. And a man who doesn't love you at your worst doesn't deserve you at your best.
Where did my laptop go?
Anyways, for the rest of the play, the chorus does nothing to stop Medea's evil plots. That is because the chorus, which is made up of Corinthian women, were powerless over men. While Medea acted violently in order to have her rights heard, the chorus did not offer any advice to stop. They were kinda okay with her executing these bloody crimes. Basically, they let her do the dirty work and get the blame for it while they live vicariously through her. Sneaky chorus. Yeah. The disparity of the chorus is seen because they are desperate enough to allow Medea, a foreigner, to kill members of their own royal family. This proves they are dissatisfied with the treatment of women.
Whoa! How did I change clothes? That's so cool. Anyway, the only thing the chorus argues is that it is unnatural to kill one's own children. But Medea goes against her maternal duties because she's so stubborn. Even though they warn her about killing her kids, they kind of just let it happen. They say what they think is supposed to be said, but don't exactly go out of their way to save the children's lives. When the time comes for Medea to do the deed, the chorus says, quote, "Ow! Do you hear? The children are calling for help! Oh, cursed, miserable woman!
Help! Help! Mother! Don't let me go! Don't kill us! Mother!
Shall we go in? I'm sure we want to save the children's lives.
Help! Help! For God's sake! She's killing us! She's killing us with her sword!
Oh, miserable woman, to destroy your own increase, melt the tables of your body!" In this interesting passage, Medea has gone to kill her children, and the chorus is clearly not doing anything about it. This further reflects how the chorus is pretty much useless, actually, because they're basically pretending to do their job of being a chorus and influencing the characters' decisions, but don't push anything because they want to see Medea commit the crime that shows a stance against women's choices.
If only Apollo, prince of the lyric, had put in our hearts the invention of music and songs for the lyre, wouldn't I then have raised up a feminine paean to answer the epic of men? The chorus is pointing out that their culture's depictions of women have been created by men. This idea that their entire culture is male-centered wouldn't pop up again until the 20th century, Medea was in many ways ahead of its time.